Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and joining us as we continue our Nikken University Book Club. We have been doing this for almost a decade now, looking at different motivational books and direct selling books that focus on the network marketing industry. And it's been quite enjoyable, I think quite successful to go through the different books that we've looked at. And currently, we are reviewing The Answer by John Assaraf and Murray Smith, which I think is turning out. It was recommended by Luis Kasuga to be an excellent book club book for us. And we're approaching the question, how can I, as an individual, how can you as a couple, as a family, how can you access, create unlimited abundance, whatever that might be for you? And for sure, it's different for everybody, and that's okay. Everybody gets to have their own idea of what unlimited abundance might entail. That's a feature, that's a benefit, that's that's not a flaw. It's actually a good thing. And if you believe that there's enough for everybody, then everybody gets to have whatever would be abundance for them. So we have we spent 2 weeks on chapter 7, the neural reconditioning process, which, along with chapter 6, was a fairly robust chapter with a lot of content to work through. And the idea of neural reconditioning essentially is that our brain, our mind, actually contains a lot that we're not always aware of. Our conscious mind is aware of the thoughts, the emotions that we're feeling, experiencing, if we're reflecting on them in the present moment. But there's a great deal of information, of patterns of thoughts that are going on under the surface, in the unconscious, or as John Assaraf puts it, the non-conscious mind. And it's this part of our brain that it's suggested that needs to undergo some rewiring, that we may need to do some neural reconditioning and actually rewire a lot of our thinking patterns, how we think about ourselves, about the world, about our capabilities, about what is possible, about the results that we can achieve and that we can create. And in chapter 7, if you remember, there are 6 core steps that we reviewed. And I'm just kind of curious, and we'll discuss this in small groups. How are you doing with the 6 core steps? So, if you remember, vision creation, coming up with a vision for your life that is very clear, that is detailed, that's emotionally rich, that describes in depth, using as many of your senses, as many of your emotions as you can, what your vision for yourself, your future, the abundant life you seek to create. Working on affirmations, positive present tense statements, and having an abundance of affirmations that can be used as part of this neural reconditioning process. Taking advantage of the idea of neural linking, where you link some of these new beliefs to strong emotional memories that already existed. It was interesting to see in chapter 8, John Assaraf talking about his different life cycle plans. And he has a life cycle plan, a vision board that's filled with everything he's already done. So he has one for the things he's already achieved. But I think most of you have experienced this, right? If you've been doing now them for 5, 10, 20, you have older ones that are affirmations for you of something you chose to bring in your life and then you did. And looking at past vision boards can be a really powerful thing. And so I think that's a very cool idea that there are a lot of emotions connected to past achievements, successes that we can use to link to existing beliefs to kind of boost our new affirmation with these emotions from the past by linking them together. Um, Material preparation, fourth step, getting together all kinds of tools, vision boards, audio recordings, written statements, different things we can use to help us in the neural reconditioning process. And then creating a routine, a daily routine practice where we combine visualizations, meditations, affirmations, journal writing, all the different kinds of approaches that we might use to embed these patterns of thought into our mind and to think them so consistently, so often on a daily basis that they seep down and they become part of our subconscious, our non-conscious mind. The final step, the idea of using neurotechnologies, new neurotechnologies like subliminal audio or apps for reinforcement. I have to admit that I have not used these kinds of tools before. Some of you have mentioned that you have in the past, and those can certainly be incorporated into the materials you're choosing to gather and into a daily routine practice. So, this is what I'm going to ask the group to discuss. So, I'll put you with some folks um, that you can work with, and in your breakout room, we'll have a discussion. And if you want to spend 5, 6 minutes, it's not really let's go around the circle unless you want to approach that way. I won't send messages, but if you just want to have a discussion in your groups about how it is that you are using these tools, and specifically, have you started to create or to work on a daily practice where you're using the steps each and every day? And if you're not or you haven't started that process, what are your plans where you're going to incorporate the 6 core steps that we studied in chapter 7, and how will you potentially use them in a daily practice, in some kind of routine that you're doing on a regular basis or a daily basis? So just discuss with your group. Those who want to share can. If you want to listen to what the other group members are sharing, that's okay too. And you can talk about what it is that you are doing currently or what you plan on doing when you incorporate the 6 steps in chapter 7 more fully, or when you create a daily routine, a daily practice that you're going to be doing on a regular basis. Anybody have any questions about sharing with their group? Okay, so we'll take 6 minutes. Maybe I'll let you know when 3 minutes has gone by, so you just kind of know half the time has gone by. If you want to invite other people to share their ideas, their thoughts, but I won't, we won't divide it into 1 minute per person or 90 seconds per person. Okay, please go ahead and join your group. So everyone has joined their group and is discussing the steps. I have to be honest, I am not currently doing an extensive practice of neural reconditioning where I'm combining different tools and different elements. There is a tool that I do use daily, every single day, which is a vision board. And I actually put my vision board on a kitchen cupboard. So I have a kitchen cupboard that I open up every morning and every evening. It always gets opened. And I have images that I've printed out. So I haven't cut things out of a magazine. I just went straight to the internet and found images that resonated with me or describe, depict the things that I'm working on currently. And I look at those and review those and think about those that are there on my vision board on my cover. Carla, I'm going to add you to a room, so just join when you see the prompt. But I found that to be a really powerful neural reconditioning technique. One of the items that I did have on my cupboard, and I'm sad to say that it was there for 2.5 years. It took me 2.5 years to finish my master's degree. Um, I'm not ashamed of it at this point because I had a lot going on and I completed it. It was challenging. I don't know. I should count up all the pages I had to write for my entire program. I probably wrote over 300 pages, and writing is a very slow process for me. I can speak fairly quickly, I can come up with thoughts and ideas, and I can verbally communicate without a lot of effort. But writing is something that is a very different way of thinking and organizing my thoughts, and it takes me a long time to write. And so when I was given an assignment to write a paper, often the assignment was 15 pages, and 36 pages later, I would be done with the assignment. It's just because it took me a long time and I could never quite approach the content they wanted to me and the number of pages they would ask. Anyhow, it took me a while, and I had up on my cupboard vision board my life cycle plan, my master's degree, and it was up there for a long time. And I would look at it and focus and think about it, and it was helpful to be there as a reminder of something that was important for me to accomplish and finish. So it's now come down. One that is up there now is French. I'm working on the French language. I have a private tutor who I take lessons from 4 times a week, 25 minutes a session. And I've been doing that since February, and my French has gotten substantially better. My Spanish is quite good. I'm fairly fluent in Spanish. Portuguese is next, but right now I'm focusing on French, and I have some images that remind me to work and to put in effort and to make sure that that is a priority in what I'm doing. So, a vision board can be a great tool for putting our mind into a place where we are consistently entertaining thought patterns, ideas that support those priorities, those things that we're working on and that we're creating. So I'm sorry that you're not able to listen in on the conversations that the groups are having. Hopefully, they're benefiting from their chats. But we will start with them again in about 3 minutes. We'll give them a little bit longer to work together, and then we will come back. So you might want to consider, if you've read chapter 7, you might want to consider what aspects you want to include in a routine that is your neural reconditioning routine. And whether they're affirmations, visualization work, journal writing, um, viewing a vision board, whatever it might be, all of these things that allow you to feed your mind, to direct your beliefs in a new way by supporting them with empowering ideas, empowering thought patterns is a really good thing to do. And as is mentioned in the chapter in chapter 7, getting all of these materials together, choosing which elements, which tools you'll use, and then creating a specific routine is something that can really be beneficial. So we'll see when the people come back how they're doing and if they have shared anything with each other that's going to be helpful. Hi, Barb. Barb, did you just join us? Barb, you're muted.
No, I've been in it.
Oh, maybe you left the room early. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Was there anyone who wanted to share with their group that there just wasn't enough time to do it, and you would feel a sense of completion by sharing here now your thoughts, your ideas with us? Anyone? So I'm going to be honest with you. I am not doing a full-fledged routine currently. So I do have my life cycle plan that I look at twice a day. It's not actually on paper. I actually put it on my kitchen cupboard. So I didn't cut anything out of magazines. I went straight to the internet. I don't have time for magazines. I went straight to the internet and I started printing things out. I print them out in black and white and I then go and paste them on the cupboard door. So the cupboard door is my surface, the inside of it. And when I open it up, and I open it up at least twice a day, I see all the images there. And my master's degree has come off, and French is still up there. And the things that are priorities I'm working on are all part of my vision board. And I do that without fail. I look, I think, I embed those images, those concepts, those ideas, those priorities into my mind. So that is an aspect of neural reconditioning that I'm absolutely using. Um, but this is crucial to create a life, the life that you are worthy of. You're worthy of it now. But to create that absolutely will require some new patterns of thought, especially if the vision you have for your life is quite grand, if it's quite, immersive. It's something that will take effort and work in terms of preparing your mind to make it happen, to align your mind with reality. In a lot of ways, what we're doing is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the foundation of a lot of this work. I mean, they kind of come from the same place, but realizing that our consistent thought patterns, what we think on a regular basis, influences the outcome, the results that we get. And if we're aligning our consistent patterns of thought with things that are just simply not true. I don't have any friends, nobody likes me. I mean, that's not true. Your mother likes you, the person next door across the street who's always bringing you stuff, when she has extra cookies, they like you. It's like when you start to count the number of people who actually like you, it's probably quite a few who really care about you and you're important to them. So to say, oh, nobody likes me, no one loves me, it's like you're just lying to yourself. So we want to align our thoughts with truth as much as possible. So this idea of having a routine where each day you kind of self-check and you work moving yourself more closely and more closely to a clear definition of reality is something that is really important to align yourself with those thoughts that are aligned with the truth, with the reality that you want to create. Chapter 8 is quite unique in terms of chapters in books. I've never found a frequently asked question list that kind of just shows up out of nowhere as one of the chapters. But actually, I think our authors are quite wise in giving us a list of frequently asked questions, especially after chapter 7, um, which is quite a deep chapter with lots of important concepts. And we'll review the chapter. I'll kind of do a broad overview after we discuss a couple of things. But I'm curious, um, after reading chapter 8, because your life is unique and your life is your own. And I'm wondering, how do you see yourself adapting the neural reconditioning process so it fits naturally into your life and personality? So, after reading chapter 8 and going through a lot of these questions that are asked, you might have some realization that I can make this fit me and fit my life effectively. Did anybody come up with any answers to that? How might you adapt some of the tools, some of the steps from chapter 7? And after reading chapter 8 and kind of getting a connection to some of the ideas, I mean, 70 years old is not too old to do neural reconditioning. And 30 minutes is awesome, but if you can do it 7 minutes a day, 7 minutes a day consistently can be really powerful. So, are there any ideas that were brought up for you in chapter 8 that kind of reframed this is how I can make this process work for me? Bela.
Repetition. Repetition of to create a new habit. John talks about that in the book, that the best way to entrench an idea into your non-conscious mind is through repetition, and to catch yourself when you're doing something opposite to that, and reframe it by putting it in a form that is positive, and therefore you're establishing the link between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. And I use repetition all the time. Even when I used to study for school, I used to repeat things over and over and over again till I got them in my head.
Yeah, it's crucial. I don't know if any of you are sports fans. You may watch the NCAA March Madness tournament, right? The basketball tournament. It's one of the great sporting events in the world. I don't know if we have anybody from North Carolina here. They watch it because they have Duke and North Carolina and all those teams. But it's a single elimination tournament, right? So they start out with 64 teams, and when you lose a game, you're out. And so there are some buzzer beaters, right, where they take a shot at the last second and teams move on that are these Cinderellas, right? That nobody thinks is going to win, and they beat a team like Kentucky and move on, and everybody's so excited. it's really quite an amazing tournament. It's very hard to win a championship because of the way the tournament is structured and the kind of luck of making a last minute shot. It's very hard to win back to back years championships. John Wooden, I don't know if you've heard that name, but John Wooden was a coach for UCLA, the University of California at Los Angeles. And he coached their team. Players like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, other greats were students of his, student athletes of his there at UCLA, went on to play for the Lakers. And anyhow, he would often, the reason I bring him up with the NCAA tournament is he won 7 championships in a row, 7 back to back. That's never going to be repeated in our modern. It's just not going to happen. But one thing that he did was he used a system with his students. He would bring in players from the Lakers and they would do demonstration. They would demonstrate how to do a layup. And then they would do imitation. They would imitate the layup. They would do it, imitate what they had seen. And then the final step was repetition. So, as Bela is saying, they would repeat over and over and over again until the muscle memory was there. I don't know if any of you can play a piano piece by memory. Your fingers just remember it and they glide over the keys because it's just embedded in your body. It's like go and it just happens. And that's
Or
what
driving home.
or driving home. Yeah. It's like you start driving and you forget. It's like, oh, I'm in my driveway. How did I get here? Muscle memory, right? You muscle memoried yourself home. You repetitioned yourself home. And it's a really powerful way to use neural reconditioning to become who you want to be, whether it's exercise, improving relationships, earning more income, repetition is key to making those things happen. Bela, thank you. Someone else had a comment.
I have
Yes, Jeannie.
I I have I have a morning routine and I really spend a whole lot of time reading, and I have space in there where I can put in my 15 or 20 minutes with my affirmations and with my vision and all of that. And so that's where I'm working on putting it, because I could just read for hours, you know. So um, I'm working on shortening that reading time a little bit and putting that in there to get it started. And I do it some now, but I think, and of course the spaced repetition. Yeah, I like that.
Jeannie, thank you. I think that's really crucial is to carve out a space in your existing day, your existing routines where this can happen. Um, if we're not finding time to make it happen, then we shouldn't be surprised when nothing changes. But if there are new results that we want to achieve, this process of neural reconditioning is going to be really important. So finding that time, finding that space really does matter. Anybody else have any insights into how they see themselves matching the steps or the routine, creating a routine into their personal life, into their personality, making it fit and work for them? Nancy?
I was on the phone with Ruth Kent the other day, and she was telling me, really, when you get in bed, now my husband and I pray together and then we go to sleep. But I started, and I go to sleep not immediately, but pretty well. I'm in that wonderful sleep system. But the going through and saying to myself positive statements just about myself. And so I think that is where I could plug this vision in. And she said, then Nancy, those are the last thoughts that you have been thinking about, and then your mind is taking it through the night. So I thought, yeah, that would be a good place for me.
Nancy, thank you. I don't know. I imagine most of you are familiar with the term of lucid dreaming. It's the idea of kind of inserting yourself into the dreaming process. There are a lot of different techniques. One simple technique is you start telling yourself a story as you're drifting off. You tell a story to yourself, and as you drift off, there's potential that the story then continues when you fall into sleep and the story continues. There are a lot of different techniques for practicing lucid dreaming. It is a real thing, but this idea of, in that moment just prior to, kind of letting go of your mind and letting your mind do its own thing could be really powerful, of doing those affirmations, visualizing or doing those thoughts right before going to sleep. A second idea that we might consider is that our goals often change over time. We accomplish things and new things become important or priorities to us as our life changes, as we go through different stages of life. How do you know when it's time to revisit your vision or affirmations and update them to match who you're becoming? Does anybody have a response or an answer to this? How have you personally dealt with this to change your neural reconditioning routine or process? How do you update or change goals? How do you include new things based on what's happening, what's going on in your life? Jeannie?
Yeah, Richard Brooke talks about that if you're feeling stuck, like you're stuck on something, and that's a good time to revisit your goals, your plans, your dreams, all of that. Your vision might just need to be readjusted. And so I'm kind of have been in that place this past week. And one of the questions in this chapter talks about like a detox. Is there something that can happen when you start? And he talks about, yeah, there's, it's like you're bringing something into your world, probably outside of the comfort zone to, and so, yeah, that can happen. So that's what I think of is if I feel stuck on something, then maybe revisit that.
Okay, Jeannie, thank you. Yeah, and sometimes going through this process can feel like a detox because often there are beliefs we have that even though they're negative or they're holding us back, it's if we've held them for so long, sometimes it's like letting it go feels like the wrong choice or maybe even a betrayal, right? If like your mom put in your head money doesn't grow on trees, or some kind of thought about it. It's like letting your mom's belief go. It's like it's a betrayal of her. And sometimes we have to really go through a challenging moment to let certain things go. Barbara Richmond.
I think sometimes when you have a goal that you're aspiring to achieve and you're really focused on achieving it, and then all of a sudden, there it is, you've done it, you're successful. I think the best thing to do at that time is to upgrade that goal to something more challenging, to give you something else to focus on, because you can say to yourself, well, I've done it once, I've been there. Yeah, it was tough, but I did it. I can do it again. And you just have to keep focusing forward, um, and believing. And I think the belief part is my biggest challenge. Um, in really believing it wholeheartedly that I'm going to achieve that goal. And yet I know I've done it in the past and I can do it again. So it's just getting back to that totally focused mindset of belief and setting a new goal for achievement.
Barbara, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Mary.
Well, I've been straying on with a school project, and I found myself so far away from where I wanted to be. So I took a picture of my vision board and put it on my laptop as wallpaper or whatever you call. So every time I open my computer, there it is. It's my vision board. And I found myself asking the question, am I still there? Is this still my vision? And I think part of it, I needed to reconnect with the vision that I had in order to pull myself back and totally focus where I wanted to be. So I think every now and then we really need to go look at those boards or go look at what that is and ask about each one of the pieces. Am I still feeling that? Do I still want that? And if not, then that's what generates a new thought. I need to replace that. It's like you're taking things off of the inside of your door and you're putting new things on there. Instead of thinking of the vision board as something static, it needs to be something that's more dynamic, that we can put new things in there amidst all the others, because some of the other things aren't changing.
Mary, thank you. And updating your vision can be exciting, it can be fun, it can be re-energizing. And if you remove something from your vision that you had focused on for a while or a long time, it's not a failure. It's not a defeat to say, you know what, this is not important. This is not a priority. I'm moving in a different direction now. That's okay. It's okay for that to happen. And I think John Assaraf makes it very clear that this this idea of neural reconditioning and the tools that we use to make it happen is not a one-time thing. It's something that's always ongoing. And so our vision is going to be always evolving and improving and becoming something new as we move forward. Um, just to kind of recover the main ideas in the frequently asked questions. One of the main concepts is that neural reconditioning is a lifelong flexible process. It's not something that happens once and then we're done with it. It's an adaptable, personal, it can be shaped to fit each person's needs and lifestyles. What matters most is finding a rhythm that keeps you engaged and consistent. A second idea, challenges are part of the growth path. So it is going to happen. We shouldn't be surprised when we find challenges that occur as part of the process. It could be procrastination that we're experiencing, doubt, awkwardness, setbacks. These are all normal signs of change taking place. Instead of viewing them as failures, the chapter reframes them as proof that the brain is being stretched and rewired. So the discomfort and the challenge and the struggle is something is good is happening. And the final idea, adaptation and recommitment lead to transformation, continual adaptation. As goals evolve, so must your affirmation, vision, and practices. So the routine that you do each day can change over time. The FAQs remind us to revisit, adjust, and recommit to our goals regularly. Transformation is sustainable, not because it's perfect, because it's responsive, resilient, and aligned with who you are becoming. So those are three consistent ideas that are mentioned again and again throughout the chapter. I want to give you one last chance before we finish today. We normally try and finish at 7:50, at 6:15, at 15 after. But I want to give you one last chance in a group. If there was an FAQ, does everybody have their book with them? If you have your book, just pull it out and flip through the pages. And was there an FAQ that resonated with you, that was important, that was valuable, that supported you, sustained you, that if you felt seen when you read it, would you share which FAQ that was with your group? So we're going to we'll be in groups of 3 this time, and we'll spend about 4 minutes in our group. Try and give each person a minute. I'll let you know when a minute has gone by, but maybe just share the FAQ that was powerful for you. Anybody have any questions? Okay, please join your group. It'll be a new group of people. I'll let you know when a minute has gone by. So everybody is with their group and they're talking about the FAQ that they really liked. One that was important to me that I really appreciated reading is the idea of your routine, your neural reconditioning routine being 30 minutes long, which is a significant amount of time. And the point that our author makes is that it's okay if you have less amount of time to do it in. Um, that it's okay, that what's most important is that it's consistent. Um, that you do it every single day. So 30 minutes is ideal, but even if it's just 7 minutes, you will start to see results. You'll see results happening if you're dedicating 7 minutes a day to your neural reconditioning process. Um, it's the consistency that is magical and makes a difference. So we should have everybody back with us in just a moment. And we'll finish chapter 8 of the answer. Welcome back, Cheryl.
Hello there.
Hello. Everybody is back. Thank you for sharing with your group. I know it's a short period of time to share something that may have really touched you deeply. I really liked the FAQ about 30 minutes because whenever I start seeing 30 minutes an hour, I'm like, oh no, where does that go in my day? But I can do 7 minutes. And the point made is that after 30 days, 7 minutes will create a profound transformation. Just 7 minutes. And you may start saying, oh my goodness, if I created this with 7 minutes, what would 15 do? Can I find 15? And maybe while you're exercising on the treadmill, you can do your routine with you can put your vision board on your phone and affirmations that you read out loud as you do the treadmill and you start multitasking and maybe it could actually happen. But that was really powerful to me that yes, the length of time during a session does matter, but what's even more important is the consistency. And a short amount of time over a 30-day period can be powerful over 6 months, over a year. Magical things start to happen. And before you know, you're living in a multi-million-dollar home in San Diego that you put on your life cycle plan. That's what happened for John Assaraf. So the same thing can happen for each person on this call. So please continue to work on practicing your daily practice. Do your routine each day, the one outlined in chapter 7. If you want to re-review some of these questions that are answered in chapter 8, that could be helpful. Next week, we're going to be moving on and we will go into chapter 9. So our author, Murray Smith, is going to make an appearance in chapter 9, finally. And we're going to be hearing his story. Your homework, keep implementing the chapter 7 steps. So essentially, keep working on your routine. If it's only 7 minutes that you're doing your routine on a daily basis, that's okay. If you can do more, that's great. Do what works for you, but keep working on implementing a daily neural reconditioning routine. Thanks everybody for joining us this evening. As I mentioned earlier on the beginning of the call, CEO Connection is tomorrow night. So 5 p.m. Pacific, 6, 7, 8 p.m. Eastern is when you can join Luis Kasuga, our president and CEO, for the CEO Connection. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us this evening.